Okay, insider trading. We all know that our wonderful, incredible congressional representatives and U.S. senators do it. Democrats and Republicans. And if you're not following Unusual Whales, what's wrong with you? Because Unusual Whales has been on point in regards towards everything that's wrong with politics here in America, especially money in politics. Money in politics that has crippled our fair republic and has caused much chaos. And unfortunately, my lovelies, my mornings, my sunshines, our politicians love to do it. They all do it. So let's go ahead and pull this up here. See, this is Unusual Whales. Please follow them on Twitter. They do a lot of great work. Okay. They do great work. And this is their main website in which you could follow all of their stuff. Please check them out. But why am I talking about Unusual Whales? Why am I talking about money in politics? Because Donald Trump is calling for the prosecution of Nancy Pelosi after she sold Visa stock just months before it was announced that Visa was going to be sued by the Department of Justice. Now, do I see this actually happening under Trump? Boy, oh boy, what a sight that would be. But let's go ahead and play this 1 minute and 16-minute video of Trump making this statement. Now, again, we talked about this on yesterday's show, Nancy doing this insider trading, to which I have to say, boy, oh boy, do our politicians sure have life on easy mode. It must be great having all the cheat codes.
But they went in there and everyone knows they threatened the 25th Amendment. They threatened him with the 25th Amendment. They said, Joe, you're going to get out. And Nancy Pelosi led the charge. And Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold their Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before Visa, it was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that. Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that. And she should also be prosecuted for J6 because she turned down 10,000 or any number she wanted, soldiers or National Guard. And I hope you all read John Solomon and what John Solomon wrote 2 days ago, because if you read it, you'd see that Donald Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. It's a scam. It's a scam.
Yes, but boy, oh boy, is it fascinating. Now, do I see Trump go ahead and trying to follow through on this? Maybe, if he's being that petty. But the thing is, if Trump's going to do that to Nancy, then that means Donald Trump has to even do that to all the other Republicans serving in Washington, D.C. That's right. All of his most diehard supporters also play that game of insider trading. People within the Republican establishment do that. Their friends, their family members. It's all one big club. Now, what is the significance of this? Well, as we covered on the show, Nancy Pelosi's husband sold Visa shares 2 months before the Department of Justice lawsuit. Some say the trade shouldn't have been allowed. To which, again, if you're thinking, if any one of you lovely, beautiful people are thinking that, oh no, Nancy's going to be held accountable, no. There have been stories in which there were fines against these wonderful U.S. representatives and U.S. senators being no more than $100 or a slap on the wrist. Shame on you. Remember, last year we covered a story similar to this in which reporters were asking, should congressional representatives be doing insider trading, to which Nancy Pelosi said, this is capitalism. And she just dismissed the whole thing. Listen, if you're living the high life, you don't want to end the high. Nancy Pelosi's husband dumped 2,000 Visa shares in July, just weeks before before the payments giant was sued by the U.S. Department of Justice for monopolizing the debt markets. Because, hey, we're all in debt, aren't we? The timely trade, which documents show was worth at least $500,000, has once again set the rumor mill running about the former House Speaker and her venture capitalist husband investing strategies, which have netted them an impressive 9-figure net worth over the years. Continue on. Pelosi's spokesperson has said multiple times that the Congresswoman does not own any stocks, but her husband does. And her husband seems to be on point, and Nancy Pelosi sure is living up. I mean, she's worth millions of dollars. She must be a very special person. The money moves are being made by her husband, Paul the Hammer Pelosi. And as required by law, she then discloses his trades to Congress via periodic transaction reports. Here's what's gotten her critics so riled up, and should even be getting some of the most diehard Democrats riled up, but because you have so many vote blue no matter who sycophants that worship Nancy Pelosi and are looking forward to her to fighting Donald Trump, they're going to dismiss it. How very Trumpian of you, vote blue no matter who people. The DOJ filed a civil antitrust lawsuit against payments against Visa on Tuesday, September 24th, for anti-competitive conduct and monopolizing the debt market, because we're all in debt. It claims Visa illegally paid its rivals to keep them out of the market and hinder innovation. Remember when, people said that, hey, we live in a capitalist society, pull yourself up by your bootstrap? No. Corporatists. We do have socialism. Socialism for the rich. Rugged libertarian individualism for the rest of us. And we're all broke. As a result, it holds about 60% share of debt payments market and earns about $7 billion annually in debt swipe fees per the DOJ. We allege that Visa has unlawfully amassed the power to extract fees that far exceed what it could charge in a competitive market, said Attorney General Merrick B. Garland in a press release announcing the lawsuit. Merchants and banks pass along these costs. I'm sorry, I lost my point. I can't believe it. I lost the point. These costs to consumers, either by raising or reducing quality or service. As a result, Visa's unlawful conduct affects not just the price of one thing, but the price of nearly everything else. So there you go. Visa stock slumped shortly after the DOJ's announcement, but unlike some investors, the Pelosi's came out that dip without much pain. Isn't that special? That's because Paul sold 2,000 Visa shares worth between $500,000 and $1, ooh la la, and $1 million on July 1st, 2024, according to Pelosi's congressional filing on July 3rd. The trade was defined as a partial sale, meaning he did not unload his entire holding. There was no public indication at the time that the transaction that the DOJ was preparing to sue Visa. This case bears some comparison to another well-timed trade Paul made in December of 2022 when he sold 30,000 shares of Google stock just 1 month before the tech giant was sued over alleged antitrust violations. Banning lawmakers from trading. There's a growing chorus of Americans who think lawmakers and their spouses should be banned from trading because of the unfair advantage they have, as well as connected people with the inside track on legislation that might affect a company or industry. To which I will throw this to you, my fellow viewers and subscribers, my fellow Americans. Do you think congressional representatives and U.S. senators and their spouses should be banned from trading? Type 1-4. Kit, there's no shenanigans going on here. Shame on you. These are honorable, good people who work real hard to improve the lives of the American people. You're very mean to Democrats and Republicans. Shame on you. Shame on everybody for saying that they do bad things. Shame on you. A type 2, man, screw those people. Screw those people. They don't deserve to do any insider trading. They don't deserve the health care. They don't deserve the benefits. Work. When has the last time Congress ever worked for us? I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat. Christopher Joseph, a tech entrepreneur who runs the Nancy Pelosi stock trader on X, is firmly in the camp. On X, he highlights politicians' trades so we Americans can invest alongside, or even better, get them banned from trading. Oh, what a sight that would be. Here's my impression of Nancy. What do you mean? I can't do any insider trading. Paul, get the hammer. We got to shut these poor people up. Shut up. In a post on Monday, September 23rd, one day before the DOJ filed the antitrust lawsuit, he described Pelosi's timely sale of Visa shares as wild, wicked wild. But in a follow-up post, he was quick to state, no one's proven she trades on insider info. Hey, folks. Chances are they probably do, but just she's very secretive about it. Come on. Ron Geffner, a former enforcement attorney with the Securities and Exchange Commission, acknowledged that sometimes politicians' conflicts are called into question when they disclose trades, but he encouraged Pelosi's critics to consider the context behind her disclosures before jumping to conclusions, because there is no insider trading in Washington, D.C. You silly poor people. Before public opinion judges Pelosi unfairly, it is important to determine who engaged in transaction on her behalf, as well as whether it was part of a broader change of her portfolio, he told the New York Post. The former speaker did disclose several other trades made by her husband around the same time as the Visa sale, including the sale of 2,500 of Tesla shares worth up to $500,000 and the purchase of 10,000 Nvidia shares worth up to $5 million. Isn't that special? So in case you are tuning in or just tuning in right now, here's another short second video of Donald Trump calling for Pelosi to be prosecuted. Now, if Trump were to be elected, would he do this? I'm going to lean in the no camp because there are Republicans in the U.S. Senate and House that do the exact same thing that Pelosi does.
And Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold their Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before Visa was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that. Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that.
Now, many of you might say, well, gee, Kit, that's a pretty bold statement to make about Democrats and Republicans. And how dare you say that Trump wouldn't go after his own party? Because, again, if he's going after Pelosi, you have to go after everybody. Case in point, this little tweet from Easy Street from Unusual Wales. There's a full report on politicians trading in 2023. Like every year since 2020, U.S. politicians beat the market. And look at that. Diehard Democrat blue. And my goodness gracious, Cretaceous, diehard Republican red. Don't you see it? You got all of our favorite politicians and even Nancy Pelosi there. You got Mark Green. You got, who else you got? You got Dan Sullivan, Susan Collins. You got Susan DeBean. Let's see, who else you got? You got Deborah Ross. You got Dan Crenshaw. Say it ain't so. Don't. MTG, you know me? No. Mitch McConnell, Turtle Boy, and row your boat, Ro Khanna. Look, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. It's one big club, and you ain't in it. And if you think that Donald Trump could probably shake the apple cart, the answer is probably most likely no. He ain't going to do that. That's going to be called a no bueno. He ain't doing that. He ain't doing that. He's not going to do it. So stop asking. If he does, I'll be surprised. But then that would mean Trump, your administration will have to go after everyone else in the United States Senate and House. Voting, isn't it great? All depends on who's going to screw you up the wazoo, Democrat blue or Republican red. Either end, we all end up being bled.